Who knows what this place looked like 2,000 years ago. Okay, so this is an area here now which I think there's definitely some man-made influences here. Like for example, we can see some sort of track going along the top here. Maybe there was some digging here, but we do see a lot of boulders scattered around the place here. There's a lot of molehills down there, but we've got loose stones here. Got another loose group of massive loose stones there. Loose stones here. So I'd say there was definitely some quarrying activity going on here. Another huge stone here. And, you know, given the erosion on these, I'd say they've been there for maybe 1,000 years. Complete guess, guys. So we've got more here. More loose stones in there. We've got slabs, of which I assume are limestone, over soil, back to limestone, soil. This is for me, I've never seen this before. Solid stone with a soil foundation to it. So, I've never seen that before. Usually it's just rock then after that, yeah? We've got a huge hole here, which I have to assume is made by a quarry. But then again, maybe it was made by, you know, huge volumes of water, but maybe it's a bit of both, yeah? Maybe it's a bit of both. Again, huge boulder here, huge boulder here. So we can see it here, what appears to be a water erosion going into a lip, emptying into this. I suppose you could argue that maybe that is some sort of road. That's it's too smooth to be a water erosion. That's actually man-made. Maybe it's true, maybe. But either way, it's still a mystery. Why would there be such like a ramp so high? And if we look down the side here, scattered in massive boulders. No specific shape to these guys. They don't look like they're part of buildings or if they're bricks or anything. Just a lot of loose, huge boulders. And then we've got this massive hole here. This has got to be 30 meters to the lip of that. So was that made by water? Was that made by, is that man-made? Either way, when did it happen? How did it happen? For what reason? Why would anybody want to build a ramp up there, if it is a ramp? And if it's water, when was there ever so much water here that would cause that much erosion? I mean, they're just, you know, like I said, at least in modern times, the climate here is simply not wet enough to make that kind of erosion. And if that was a road, why would it be up there so high? But okay, let's assume it is a road. We have got what looks like a waterfall on the other side, with literally more or less zero watershed, zero water feeding it now, and certainly not enough to cause the erosion that's there. This whole area here is scattered with boulders. We've got another thing here which looks like a ramp. This a ramp or is this water erosion? I don't know. It seems a bit straight, honestly, for it to be simply water erosion, quite honestly. And then it basically just goes off this cliff into this hole. But if it is man-made, this trench, why would they do it? Like, I'm not familiar with mining techniques, so if you are familiar with mining techniques, you know, feel free to share. Let me know why a quarry would build like a road like that going into a hole. You can see from the end here, you know, it's very straight. If we come up here, like more boulders, you can see like it's a slab. I'm presuming it's a limestone slab over soil, and this is what has been mined here, is the limestone from the slab. I've got another flat area here. Again, is this man-made, this plateau here, or is this water erosion? Actually, now I'm looking at it, I'm tempted to say it was man-made, this little area here. It seems a bit of a straight cut to be water erosion. But again, how old would this be is my question. If it was a quarry, okay, fair enough. They are mining limestone, which is very common in the area around Thessaloniki. But how old would this be then? When was this quarry last mined? We're looking at hundreds of years, thousands of years. Like the rocks that are exposed here, I mean, the amount of weathering on them is huge. I mean, you've got to be saying hundreds of years to get that amount of erosion, in my opinion, as a complete guess, educated guess if you like. But assuming this area is a quarry, what about the rest of it? I mean, how did this entire area get so eroded into this valley? I mean, how long would that take? When did it happen? We are relatively close to the top of the valley now, and this is basically a prime example of what I'm talking about with regards to the amount of erosion that's here versus the amount of water that's available. So we can see that we've got a hill on this side, hill on that side, so basically a valley here with a river at the bottom. But this, I would say, is the size of a valley which matches, if you like, the amount of water that's flowing down here, as opposed to the size of the valley that we've got, which goes from there over to here. And if you're just going to talk about that, you can see how big this valley is versus this stream. And likewise, we've got another one of these, almost identical, if not identical in size there, and you can see the size of the valley that we've got. So I'm wondering how did this happen? You know, if you've been following Randall Carlson or something like that, maybe we're talking about a massive flood here in this area at some time. Maybe this happened once, like a huge volume of water came down here from some sort of flood and created all the huge amounts of erosion that we see, at least around Thermaikos up to Tagarades, Vasilika, Suruti, and you know, around this area, Plagiari. Did we have a flood at some times? You know, going up to Galatisa, that valley there. You know, where does all the water come from to do so much erosion there? You know, it doesn't exist. The climate is simply not that wet to make such huge valleys, and it was never glaciated here apparently. So how did the erosion happen? And like I said, this for me is a prime example of it, but we could be looking at something more than simply erosion here. This area here, it's basically got two flat tops on it, which makes me believe, you know, maybe the hill was there originally and then it's been modified into, you know, a more uniform shape, and it was some sort of fortification at some point. Again, would not surprise me at all. They have found some structures in Nearisio, and they're dating them back at least I think 680 BC. They've dated that as abandoned in 680 BC. So to have something so close to Nearisio, again, and this has not been dug. Nearisio, I think, is this site is 6 years old. They started digging there. So again, would not surprise me to have two flat tops, two different levels like this. You know, it's, you know, fortification, it says to me, or a walled city, an acropolis. So a lot of things going on. We've got mining down the bottom of this valley, maybe even mining here. We've got ancient fortifications or something here. I'm guessing, guys, but I think a very good chance that these fortifications here. Massive erosions, which doesn't match the amount of water in the area. So mining, how old? Fortifications, is it? If so, how old? Erosion, how? Over what period of time? Or was there some sort of giant flood here which would explain all the erosion that we see in the area? Like I said, massive erosion in the area with very little rainfall. Massive water erosion. Again, could this have been something? This almost seems too uniform to have not been something, but you know, who's to say? I mean, I've got, you know, there's no basis for me to say that. This is, you know, maybe there was something there, maybe not. This, I'm almost sure that there must have been something there at some point. But if there was something there, then, you know, maybe there was something here. This looks like, you know, like a big amphitheater, this area here. There is something on top. It is a mound in the middle of nowhere, but, you know, it doesn't really look like anything. But saying that, there are what looks like the remnants of lime kilns on top of this. So, you know, a lot of action, I would say, just generally around Thessaloniki, specifically in Thermaikos, and you know, Macedonia in general. I mean, you just look around and you think, you see these mounds with the flat tops. You go out to Koufaia, out to Edessa, and you see the tombs that they have there. I mean, who knows what this place looked like 2,000 years ago? I mean, you know, maybe there was more people living there, more activity, you know, 2,000 years ago than there is today. 2,000 years, and at the earliest 2,000 years ago. So again, it narrows up the valley here. We can see how steep these sides are. I mean, it would be, you know, an ideal place for an acropolis. This, you know, maybe this was a quarry. It does seem very uniform, and there are dips, you know, which makes me, you know, looking at it from a distance, we can see a dip here, a dip here, dip here. Maybe this was lime kilns as well. You know, maybe this is just a huge quarry here and they had the acropolis opposite it. Whatever the case may be, it just looks like huge amounts of activity and mining in the area. Both a lot of activity from people and also a lot of activity from natural purposes, you know, where erosion from water. We can see these indentations, they go, you know, basically all the way along the top of this area here, which looks a bit different to this, which could look like more like water, but you know, maybe it's from a lime kiln, but they do look different. Like, well, the water erosion is not as smooth. So anyway, that's all I've got to add really, guys. These are my thoughts on the area. We're just going to go straight up the side of this now, and maybe we'll do a video from the top so you can see the valley from above. Like I said, I'm a complete amateur at this. I've got no academic experience. I've done very little research on these things, apart from, you know, doing a bit, seeing what Randall Carlson has talked about. But if you've got any input into this area, what happened here, what the history is, you'll feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to have more information about this area, you know. So this is where we are. We're halfway up this hill. So you can see, we walked up from here, so you can see what this valley looks like. Up there, you could argue that the size of the valley is more commensurate is the word for the amount of water that's flowing down here. The erosion taking hundreds of years. But this is the thing on the other side. You can see a gently sloping top and another one below it. In contrast to the land around it with regards to the steepness. Okay, we've got a hill up there, two actually, but you can see this. You could argue this is raised ground, but how shallow the land is around it versus this, which has got very steep sides to it. And again, it's got these like a little road or flat area going up the side of it, which you do see in these these areas where there's an Acropolis ruin, possibly areas for Acropolis. So you do see these tracks around the outside. So this is what I was talking about, like the contours being similar to lime kilns. Again, I'm solely going off what I've seen in Platamonas Castle. They had a little model there showing the amount of lime kilns that they had at the foot of the castle, and these look exactly the same. So we've got one here, one there, got another two here, one there, another one there. I don't think we've got so many lower down. Like for example, this I wouldn't say is a lime kiln, just simply because it's not exactly straight and the sides are very steep. Whereas here they're not as deep, they're straight and the sides are much smoother. So, and basically this goes all the way around, so who knows what was going on here. So that's really it, guys. There's nothing else to say about this area. Like I said, if you know anything about the area or its history, ancient or otherwise, feel free to leave a comment. I would love to learn a little bit more about the place, where I'm walking the dogs regularly. So as always, thanks for watching. Look after yourself. I'll see you again next time.